And I'm glad we finally met up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So you did find the right house, and
Yeah, I did.
okay. Yeah.
No, I
just
started
saw you
around
that.
talking to you, and I'm like not even paying attention to where I'm going. So I pulled into the gas station and talked to him for a while, and then came over.
Oh yeah. Well, I was like brimming over with like information I wanted to share about the house, and yeah. So I'm glad you I'm glad you found the right place. I just like didn't want you to be like bored or worried when you couldn't find the place, but I think I distracted you even more from coming back to the house. So
So
yeah.
where are you right now? I like the background. Is that your kid?
That's right. I'm being held prisoner in a developing country.
Exactly. If you need help.
The walls, please send help. The walls have not been boarded over yet. This is it's just OSB. It smells like plywood. I have my computer set up. And outside is the Missouri.
Did you build this structure?
I did not. This is...
I thought he was going to be in the middle of a field or something. At least he's like in a
I think it's
a neighborhood.
It's like a rural town. Internet looks like it's not so good.
Yeah, that's right.
We lost you for the last few minutes, I think, but now we see you.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, maybe I walked the internet
right
dead
when
zone.
You
but
left the door, when you got up, we basically just stopped hearing anything and seeing anything.
Oh wow. Okay, well that's what you'd expect from a Missouri farm, probably.
So it is actually a farm.
Yeah, well, they don't grow crops productively. That's they could. Also, we do build tractors. We have an open source tractor. It's probably too far away for me to go tour it right now, but we're building a greenhouse today. All the other interns are still hard at work or thinking about dinner, and I kind of skated off early because I wanted to meet with you guys. And also, I've been working pretty hard, so I think, yeah, people are encouraged to take off and take care of their own personal needs whenever they feel kind of like tired and avoid burnout. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, but also a lot of hard work. So
For sure.
yeah. So this is the Hab Lab. It's like a dorm building, and there are probably like 9 or 10 rooms. Some of them are bunk beds. Like some of the rooms will share.
Get your attention a second. I just checked the Walmart account.
Yeah.
And I don't find your list there.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Like, you want to know what we ordered?
Yeah, or the order ID or something, so I can pick it up.
Yeah. So if you want to pick it up now, I posted the information in Telegram, which is the only info that I have.
Which was a screenshot, right?
It's a screenshot, so it tells you the address. Yeah. Which is St. Joseph on North Belt Highway.
But how am I going to tell them what I need? I just can't show pictures of milk cartons.
I mean,
where'd you get the picture from?
Katerina sent it to me. So Katerina made the order, and I think
didn't do it on the apprentice account.
She did. But she used Marchin's computer. So I couldn't find the list either. But I think if you show up and just tell them your name, the name on the account is OSC Apprentices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you can do that, but if you can't, I am happy to do it at 7.
Yeah, no, I think it's better to leave now.
Okay. All right. Thanks for taking care of that. I didn't have time to do it. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of being
You're right. Yeah. All right.
Online and in person.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to go back inside where no one can find me.
Good idea.
You haven't been here before, though, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I can give you the tour.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look inside.
Yeah, so I mean, that's where I am. There are other interesting things for sure, but yeah, Brian, I think maybe if you haven't told Adrian already, you said you were interested in real estate development and affordable housing, and you wanted to spend more time on it as soon as like your job situation.
As soon as I can, right? That's the tricky thing about it. It's like when you're working, you have the money for it, but you don't have the time.
Yeah.
So if you're not working, you have the time, but you don't have the money.
Yeah.
So it's a little tricky. I mean, I had a couple of duplex properties that I used to have, but I've sold both of those now, and I just wanted to like take a break for a little while. But yeah, you're right. I work full time, so it's kind of like takes so much time and energy.
Yeah.
That's why I decided to just take a break for a little while.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anything right now, but it is something I'm interested in. So, I mean, I guess I would like to understand like what is unique or new about your ideas and where you're at with it, how it's going. I mean, like you were talking about the cost of materials for this place that you're building.
Yeah.
Where,
So that's
what type of construction is it? It's like a house kit or a panelized construction, or what's going on there?
Yeah, exactly. It's a modular construction, and this particular design is still a timber frame house. So instead of a stick frame in place, like putting up the 2x4s and the 2x6s on the foundation, we build them in a workshop, and they're all 4 foot by 8 foot panels, and they're like standardized. Some of them are windows, some of them are doors, but they're insulated, they're wrapped, and they can be done offsite and delivered. So the eventual model would be that we can mass produce these in some workshop or factory, like here, and then ship them to anywhere people want to stand them up. And we've practiced standing them up. We've gotten pretty good at it. I think we can stand up the first story of a house in a few hours. And then the second story is a little bit harder, and we make use of a tractor again, which our founder built from scratch. So we use the tractor to lift the story, and that's a whole second day. And then a few more days for the roof, and then more days for interior walls and plumbing and electrical and things like that. So
Is
that
Seed
design.
V2?
What's that?
Is that the Seed Home V2?
Yeah, that's right. And technically what we're building right now is a Seed Home V3, because we improved on it from the design. Like what I was building in July, and maybe I showed you some videos, Adrian. And Brian, I'll post some videos as well in case you're interested. That was the version 2. And then every time they build it, they like discover all these improvements they want to make and how to make it like vastly faster. So I would say like the first Seed Home in July took 6 weeks for us to get up to the roof, like not interior, but first store, second store, exterior framing, and then the roof and ceiling. And then we got to that point in 5 days this time in September. So that improvement is like a lot. So we learned a lot, about how to work together as a team and improvements in materials. And that's from scratch. So that's new materials and not, no asbestos in the pipe wrap in the basement or lead paint on the walls. Like I was telling you earlier, like we're having to deal with that in this house, and most old homes in Detroit were built, before 1978, like in the 1920s. This house was built in 1919. And it's something I didn't actually realize until I bought, this happens in real estate a lot. You like buy a house and move in and be like, oh, I didn't realize that there are all these toxic materials I have to remediate, or I don't know, I didn't know half of what had to be done before I bought it, which was like surprisingly ignorant for such a big investment. But I did it, and I figured I would learn. But these new houses, we can design from scratch to be, safe to raise children in, and to not need major repairs, and to be standard, right? This is an open source design, and the advantage that you can just like look up in a manual. How many houses have a manual? You just like look it up, or even you just like call the designer and ask them, like, how do we repair this, or why did you design it this way? And this one is an expandable design. So there's a hidden door frame. We've pre-framed a door in the back, and when you're ready, you can just like open up the door and add on to your house. You don't have to like punch through brick. Like the brick wall behind you, it'd be really hard to expand this house. But we might try it anyway. You'll see in the back there's a brick wall where we want a back door from the kitchen. Adrian's house has this, and you can expand your home that way. It's just harder. That's all.
So you have these open source designs, and then you're building the panels and the pieces yourself, and you're also putting them up by yourself?
Yes. I mean, I'm an apprentice, so I'm learning how to do this by myself, and it'll probably take I'll probably be ready like next year to tackle some of these, but I'll probably also hire a bunch of my friends that I made here who have already practiced this technique, and probably the project founder himself would want to still be consulted, if not be leading the project as well. So there's a whole support team down here, including, so it's a power couple pair. The founder is sort of the visionary engineer, and his wife is a like a very talented designer and architect, and it's her house design. So she does the design. She designs in the house in the morning, and then we build it in the afternoon. And she comes out and kind of critiques us in this quality control and say like, oh, well, this isn't good enough. You guys have to do it again. And we like laugh, and we don't really like redo everything from scratch to make it perfect, but we're constantly improving all the time. But this is not the approach we're taking in the house behind you right now. The house behind you, we're taking the approach of there are tons of good, buildings in Detroit that are serviceable. They have good bones, and they just need some TLC, some tender love and care. And there's a way we can do that in an open source way too. So Adrian and I have been contributing to this forum, which is like a wiki, like a Wikipedia of home renovation of things that we learned.
Yeah, we're gonna move inside.
Yeah.
So there's another table over there.
Yeah, apologies for the lack of seating and mess so far, but it's a work in progress.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Quieter now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I brought another desk over here, so we have a little more table space.
Oh, wonderful. That's awesome, dude.
I don't mean to ask you a bazillion questions. I'm just curious. So like you could do, like, I'm kind of wondering why you're doing all this yourself, because I know there are places you can go and you can buy that, right? So I'm assuming that you must think, well, like you can buy prefab homes, you can buy panels, you can hire someone you can contract a general contractor to assemble them for you. That's what most developers would do if they were going to build this, right? They wouldn't be building panels and
Building one of these
themselves. Yeah. And so to do that yourself, there must be an advantage. Otherwise, you would just hire somebody else to do it, right?
Yeah. So we did look at a kit, an A-frame kit from an Estonian company, which has a US branch. They're called A-frame, A-V-R-A-M-E. And their home of a similar size. Hold on, a call's coming in. It might be food that's arriving.
I'll check.
They went away. They'll call back if it's important. So so that's a kit home, and that costs about $40,000 for a 600 square foot home. That's 2 stories. So you've probably seen A-frames. They're very popular for Airbnb rentals and off-grid vacation homes.
Right.
And so that home is designed for 2 people to put up in like a few weeks as well for $40,000. So we know the price of materials is comparable, like $40,000 to $50,000 for something that's 600 to 1,000 square feet, 2-story home. Oh yeah, it does say seamless drivers arriving soon. So Adrian went out at the right time.
Okay.
And yeah, the reason, I have a technocratic approach to most things. Like if I see a problem that's widespread that could help many people, and I see it being done inefficiently or no one is doing it in sort of a way that I think is compelling, then I like kind of want to get in there and do it myself. And even though it's probably not scalable for like me personally to build all these wall modules, but in doing it, I'll learn a lot for one thing. And from the outset, it is inefficient. Like if you hire a general contractor, you end up paying them in general 20% of the finished cost of a house. And such a house could be maybe $150,000, let's say you found this house that you're standing in right now, you and Adrian are in, and it's completely ready to live in, and someone just renovated it and they like sold it to you. How much do you think that total cost might be? I'm just guessing. I have no idea.
Well, how big is the house?
Like 1,600 square feet or something like that.
It's about 700 square feet on each floor, and it's 2 stories, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, a kitchen, and has a backyard and a garage, separate detached garage in the back. And you've done some real estate, so you probably have some judgment about it as well. I don't really know the ballpark how much it would be. So
like how much it would cost?
How much someone would pay? Yeah, it totally depends.
Yes.
But I guess you're just asking for his unbiased opinion, basically.
Yeah. I'm asking you for your unbiased opinion.
Area. It's right. Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking about cost.
Yeah, you're talking
So
about just like rehab.
actually
You're talking about
bought-
rehab costs.
Yeah, like if I
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
this house and I
Yeah.
rehabbed
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
Yeah, and you were,
how much would I do it?
yeah.
and you hired a general contractor to do it, and
Right, you had like contracted out most of the work and stuff like that.
yeah, I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you,
No, I really want to. I just really want to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
well-
say probably close to 100,000, maybe 90 to $100,000. But I mean, it depends on what you paid for it. And I'm assuming looking around, you wouldn't pay that much for this house.
Yeah,
Sure.
what do you think?
Oh,
yeah, we knew we would have to do a lot of work, so we paid
Well,
34,000
okay,
for
yeah,
that.
I was gonna
the
say
house as is.
30,000
Yeah.
or something like that
Yeah.
for the house, and then I would think you'd probably spend at least $60,000 to rehab it by the time you're done.
We thought 40,000, but 60,000 is still like, a little more expensive than what we wanted, but to be completely finished with everything that we would want, like not just up to code, but yeah, probably 60,000. That's a plausible number. Okay, so then it would be the difference of, you were saying 90 to 100,000 contracting out to someone else, and then we're estimating we can do it for 40,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's cost savings of 2 to 1, and if we're making affordable
I actually
housing,
don't even know if it's possible to just hire a general. Like, I think a lot of times it's like,
It's nearly impossible.
yeah,
I will
exactly.
tell
You can't
that.
really do it. That's yeah,
You
I
can't.
didn't destroy it. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
so you pretty much have to take on a significant burden of just
You do.
managing and
That's
figuring.
why I'm not.
Yeah. That's why most people. That's why there's a huge discrepancy between like the amount of money that we're talking about here, which is like 100,000. But like on my block, there's literally like there's been 6-7 houses similar in size to this that were flipped. They all went for like around 300, some as much as $400,000.
Yeah,
So
are
that's
you
what
like
people-
closer to New Center? Or
Yeah, a little
is it
closer.
towards
Yeah,
Woodbridge or
exactly.
something?
Just like exactly. Just like a little. Yeah. So like my house. Yeah. Now that area. Yeah. But I think what it comes down to, that's what I've gathered, is basically people just don't want to. There is no way to just hire someone and just have
Yeah,
it happen.
it is
So it's
not.
just like someone's got to be managing all that and putting in that work. And
Right.
most people who want to buy a house don't want to deal with that. So that's
Mhm.
why like anyone who is willing to deal with that actually can make quite a bit of money if they're playing, if they know where to go and such. But like, so yeah, it's kind of like, that's sort of, I think the ultimate reason is that there's a lot of demand for housing, but like most people who want to buy a house don't want to deal with all of that work, and they
Right.
don't know how a lot of times. So anyway, we're kind of, I guess that kind of leads to like,
Exactly.
we're trying to democratize that a little bit, not make it as easy as just hire a general. I mean, that's probably not feasible, but
Right.
make it much, much easier for especially groups of people to be able to kind of come in and, co-invest in a house and get it, ready. That would be one of the potential objectives, is like making that whole thing more manageable and
Right,
transparent about like what to expect. What is it like?
Mhm. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so then back to your home there. Like I can see how you could save a lot of money like doing things yourself at this point in time, because maybe you're not paying yourself or you have like interns or whatever. But where does that lead to? Like eventually, is there something different about your process that's more efficient, where you're going to end up with a price advantage compared to what someone can go buy today?
yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of, well, it depends on whether you're talking about the advantage of someone buying from us. So our target is to serve families that are making around like 30% of the area median income. So which is the definition of affordable housing, usually 30 to 60% in Detroit, and what they can afford and what funding is available for them. So there is a loan corporation called the Neighborhood Association. Wait, NACA, it stands for, I think it's Neighborhood Association Company of America, I think it stands for, but they give like 1.4% loans, like 15-year mortgages.
They're a federal like program, though, right? Like
I think they receive a lot of federal assistance.
but they're actually like a nonprofit, basically.
I think they're a nonprofit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I do know that like there are housing programs to help people with down payments. And when, there's a long waiting list, I guess, for vouchers for public assistance, for rental units. That like there's availability in housing projects that are publicly owned. And there's availability for assistance for ownership. But the one that most people want is a voucher where they just give you
for rent.
Yeah, for rent,
Yeah.
a rental voucher. Like that's the
Yeah.
popular affordable housing assistance, I guess, and there's a waiting list for that.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting that I've never heard anyone really talk about the programs that help people buy homes. But they're out there. You can get as much as $15,000 basically given to you for a down payment for a home.
If you're like lower income.
Yeah, if you qualify.
Which pro is this? You
Yeah, I'd be interested in the program.
I don't know what it's called, but it's basically through MISHDA, through the Michigan.
Oh, cool.
Sure, I've heard of them.
Sounds like, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so
cool.
that was interesting, and then I've never heard of this low interest loans. That's some kind of subsidized loan program, I guess, right?
Yeah, I actually don't know how they work, but they appear to be a pretty they do good work. The acronym is NACA, and I'll send a link to that later if you're interested. But they're actually hiring right now, so they're hiring people who I guess have an interest in counseling people and of all the federal programs available and like helping them research their options. And so it must be a nonprofit. And our goal, we don't want to be rent collectors or mortgage evaluators, but we want to help people have access to these programs, not problems. And so this house,
they already have access to the problems.
yeah, no, people have access to their own problems already for sure. But earlier you were asking what's the advantage of this? Are we paying ourselves? And we aren't paying ourselves yet. I mean, more we're trying to figure out, can we do this in a scalable way? We're starting with this house. This house is our prototype, our minimum viable product, as they say in startup speak. And then there's a Wayne County auction every year, including what's going on right now, where they sell foreclosed houses for like $1,000, starting at $1,000 and end up, and they probably need the same, probably more, a little bit more renovation than this house. And then we can apply the techniques we learned here to scale up and move on to more houses. And each house we plan to sell for, about 20% more than it cost us to rehab it. And so if we were paying ourselves, that 20% would be our salary because we are our own general contractor. But my goal is to make a system where, we can roll that 20%, or, everyone can vote to do with their share of it, whatever they want. But I would roll my share of the 20% into the next house to be self-funding. And then the goal is to run it does have a social impact business. I don't call it a nonprofit or a charity because I think it removes some options later that would be beneficial to serve more people. And then also, I don't rule out becoming wealthy doing this, because I think we can definitely do something in a clearly better way, both technology wise and organizational wise than others. But when most people say nonprofit or charity, they say, it's something that's not very well run. It's something that's inefficient, something that's not transparent in finances. And I don't want to be any of those things. Like, I don't want us to depend on grants. We can't apply for grants. It would be nice to partner with people who value this work, like governments and other foundations. But so, profit isn't our first motive. We're not doing it. If we wanted profit, we would flip a house. We would buy and renovate this house for $100,000 and then sell it for $200,000. And then that's just a normal business model that I think is well understood by everyone that you've heard before. So does that answer your question? Sort of like, I guess you kind of asked, how does this work? What do you hope to get out of it? Why is this advantageous? And it's advantageous to the family who wants to buy an affordable home and own it, because I think that's the other problems I mentioned before, like education, access to healthy food, building generational wealth, and housing. I see housing as sort of like the cornerstone or the entry point. Like, you make progress there and it has outsized benefits in all the other problems that that people have and want to work on.
Okay.
That's my opinion. So
yeah, that's great. I was just curious, like, I understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, like what motivates you. I think that's something that I'm interested in too, right? That's why I'm here. But
Sure.
I'm just curious as to like why you chose that path to do, because you've taken on a lot. You're not working at a high level. You got your hands on it. You're actually building the house more or less, which is probably an efficient way to do it if you're willing to donate your labor and to do all that work. But as you said, it's pretty difficult to scale that up unless you find other people that want to donate their labor, and it catches on like wildfire. But that's why, like, I think it needs to be profitable to scale it up. And that's why I think you always need to consider that. And well, especially if you're looking for investors, unless you just want someone to make a donation, right? If they're not getting a return on their investment, then it's a donation.
Yeah, like Paul said though, yeah, we're not actually donating our labor at the amount that it gets sold for.
Well, no, you're not.
Pays that off basically.
Yeah, you're not donating your labor in that sense because you're expecting a return that's comparable to labor.
Compensates the labor to some extent. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of even though I'm building this house, that's to learn the process, but also to improve it. If I were to buy the house that I'm building right now, it would be 100,000 total. So 50,000 for materials, 50,000 for cost, and a $100,000 home that's 1,000 square feet and 2 stories, like 2 bedroom and 1 bathroom. That is still affordable, and that's like hiring other people to build it. So yeah. I mean, I get the difference is that we are not trying to make the speculative market rate, which many people, that is what they're interested in. And anything else, they would consider it taking a loss if they didn't take the maximum money available. Whereas like for me, other than the enjoyment I get for solving a hard problem better than anyone else is doing it, is building something lasting in the sense of I build a house and it stands up and I can still visit it decades from now and I'll be like, I built that. But lasting in the sense of like making an organization that's democratically governed. So land trusts, of which there are probably like 200 or 300 around the US right now, they last for decades. I mean, many of them last for decades. There's one in Chicago, there's one in Atlanta, there's one in Burlington, Vermont that Bernie Sanders helped start. These things are very long lasting. The homes in them have like historically low foreclosure rates. They're very stable. They grow. The area median income probably grows like at 9% per year. So like in terms of an investment, there's a completely different asset class, but they're not susceptible to bubbles and depressions in the way that other asset classes are. So I have a lot of arguments for like why this is worth working on, but it definitely takes a certain mindset or temperament. It's not for everyone. Not everyone brags about how much affordable housing they can create and how good they are, but I do.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Are there any community land trusts in Michigan that you know of? Or?
There are some forming in Detroit.
There are some?
Yeah, but they're kind of like doing it on the down low for strategic reasons.
And they're new, so they don't have.
Yeah, and I think
living in.
No, there's I think is there any that are public, Paul? They're like public and have people.
Well, there's a Storehouse of Hope, but I think they have.
That one.
They're not accepting new members. The last updates from them, they bought, I think, 15 houses, I think, in 2016, and 5 of those families later moved on. And there are a few news reports that are negative about like houses not being repaired, people not being able to get repairs on their houses, or it being bought by the land trust without their knowledge or permission, which is kind of a no-no in land trust circles. So I think they mean well. They're associated with a center which runs a food pantry and is faith-based. So I think they have good intentions, but they have organizational problems. And the others that are secret, I don't like working in secret because it's like too much to remember. And yeah. So everything.
Why do they want to keep it a secret?
They don't want to be scooped in terms of real estate deals, or they don't want the parties that they're negotiating against to raise their prices. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's understandable too. Like if they're planning to buy like millions of dollars of lots and acres, they probably can get a better deal by being in secret first.
I see.
Yeah.
These might
Yeah,
be
most of these are
bigger
gonna be like,
territories.
they're gonna be
So I
like
gotcha.
limit like areas, specific areas, and they want to make
Yeah,
sure
they want to
can
buy
have
like
it.
the whole area.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whereas our concept is
see.
a little different.
Yeah,
They won't be in the same area
Exactly.
in general, at least. Maybe some land tracts will be large. you know.
Yeah,
But
that's
it'll be a
an-
model that will work. In
That's
any-
an advantage of it because
Yeah.
you won't get those holdouts like the $5 million house on Cass. Do you know that one?
No.
Like, okay, there's one parcel of land with an old house on it that the Illich family was not able to buy when they built the new arena.
Oh, the one they moved. Oh wait. Oh, out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so they just held out. So it's just
Wait, is that
it's a
one with the
tiny little house
With the,
on
like
Cass?
that's really busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with
And
the
it's
big
been for-
signs up there.
It's been
Oh,
for
and it's
sale
up for $5 million. Oh,
$5 million.
nice.
Because they know, like,
Yeah,
the
they know it.
Illiches really want that property,
Yeah.
so they've been.
Yeah, it's that
Holding out.
decrepit one, and they have the real estate. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was wondering what the
So
hell
that's
is up
what
with
can
that.
happen to the land trust, if someone catches on, hey, they
Yeah,
need this one
exactly.
to complete their circle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I think our approach of scouting out auction houses, like it'd be very hard for someone to jack up the price or game us on that.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
maybe.
know,
I mean, he wants to get a tour. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
let me
leave
look-
pretty soon. I don't know what's up with the food, but I'm gonna definitely have to leave in like.
Oh, the food dropped
Yeah,
off. The food's on
yeah,
the porch
we
right
might-
now. So
Oh, it's on
let
the
me get off.
floor.
Yeah, let me get off the call,
Oh.
and hopefully you guys get some food, get a tour, and then it was great meeting you, Brian.
yeah, thanks, Paul. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah. Adrian, thanks for running this, and yeah, we do have a forum. So if you're interested in the project or want to keep in touch, Adrian can show you what address that's at. It's forum.detroitarcology.org, and a recording of this meeting will be posted there along with all of our other past meetings. You asked really good questions, so I'm really glad that I got a chance to answer some of them on the record and hear Adrian's thoughts on them as well. And yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you, Paul.